Hello there, fellow aviators. This is Battles Over the Pacific. I am VR Boomer, and today we're talking Mustangs. Oh yeah, gears up, guns are hot, let's go. The P-51 Mustang is one of the most famous aircraft of World War II, and certainly the most famous American fighter of the war. It was gorgeous and glamorous, and exceptionally good at what it was designed to do. The P in P-51 stands for pursuit, but in reality the Mustang was an incredibly versatile, multi-rolled aircraft that did everything from high-altitude dogfighting to low-level ground attack and troop support. It could be argued that it was the world's first air superiority fighter before that concept even really existed. The role that it's most well known for, of course, is bomber escort. When the Americans came to England, the troops, tactics, and equipment were all hopelessly dedicated to daylight bombing raids. Now, the British had found out that was essentially a suicide mission, and they had long since converted primarily to night attacks with their bombing raids. The Americans went forward with the daylight raids. And as a result, they incurred horrific loss rates, something like a 30% attrition rate, which means out of any 10 group of bombers, after 3 raids, only one of them was coming back. The problem was that the bases were in England, the bombing raids were all the way in Germany, and there was just nothing that could escort the bombers that far, until the Mustang came along. It could fly missions taking off from England all the way to Berlin and back with fuel and ammo to spare.
Target building is out.
They became known as the little friends to the big heavies. They were taking care of work over in Berlin. Now, the P-51 Mustang has an origin story that's almost as legendary as the plane itself. In 1940, the British were desperate for more aircraft. They needed way more than they could possibly produce. So they went to the Curtiss Aircraft Corporation and asked them if they'd take on a contract to build P-40s for them. Curtiss, at the time, could not handle more production than what they were already doing. So the British next went to North American Aviation and asked them if they would build P-40s on contract.
Target destroyed.
North American responded with a counterproposal. They said in the same amount of time it would take them to tool up to build P-40s, they could build an entirely new airframe that would be superior to the P-40. The British took the gamble, and just 102 days after the contract was signed, the first P-51 prototype, the NX-73, rolled out of the hangar. North American had accomplished in months what usually takes years to get an airplane from the drawing board to an actual flyable prototype.
Yeah, target down.
You'll notice most of the pictures you see of P-51s, they are all in aluminum. They're not camouflage painted. A lot of that was because as the war got later on, the Allies achieved such tremendous air superiority that they simply didn't need to waste the weight, frankly, of the extra paint on the aircraft. Right, like one or two more loops around. Oh, how many rockets do we have left? We have no rockets left. We have to do this all on guns. The first P-51 Mustangs had the birdcage canopy like the P-40s did, and they were equipped with the same Allison engine that the P-40s had. Now, this was a fine engine, but it tended to lose power at high altitudes. So one very smart Brit said, why don't we try sticking a Rolls-Royce Merlin in that thing? And a legend was born. Now, the B and C variants of the Mustang which were exactly the same aircraft. The only difference was the plant that they were manufactured in. Both had that birdcage, and some were outfitted with the Malcolm hood, which is the same kind of canopy that the Spitfire had. Later on, North American cut down the back, fitted a bubble canopy, like this, and we got the seminal P-51D, which is the Mustang most people think of when they think of the Mustang. Let's get out of the way here. I needed more rockets. I'm going to make a couple more passes here. The D did serve in the Pacific. It's most well known for its role in the European theater, but it did, of course, still serve in the Pacific. It again was very well known in the Pacific for its long-range bomber escorts. You could take the B-29s all the way from Iwo Jima to the main Japanese island, doesn't seem to be an actual target, and back again. Oh, that is an actual target.
One step closer to
Oh,
victory.
that's it. We are all done. Let's go back home now.
Mission complete.
All right, let's deal with the elephant on the flight deck. The P-51 Mustang was absolutely not an aircraft carrier aircraft. There were a couple examples that were trialed by the Navy for aircraft carrier operations, but it never served on one. Absolutely not. This is a game, though, of course, so we're going to be landing on an aircraft carrier today. See if we can bring it in without crashing. I seem to have crashed the past few times I've done this. We got full flaps, engine speed down. There's the deck. Bring her down, bring her down. Come on you go. Touchdown. Come on, you got this. On the deck, what are you doing? There we go. And we are landed. All right. Anyway, that is the P-51 Mustang. Here, of course, you can see the scoop underneath that I mentioned, which is where the air cooler is. The air intake for the engine is right up there. The bubble canopy with the cut back there. Got some rockets loaded underneath there. The Mustang could indeed carry rockets and bombs and drop fuel tanks for extra range. It was a magnificent, magnificent aircraft. All right, I hope you enjoyed this little background on the P-51. If you like this kind of content, let me know down in the description, and we'll make some more. See you in the next video.